Hello, I'm Dr. Ron England, and this is a second lecture on callback functions. The first lecture was a lecture that used jQuery as part of the foundation for doing it. I wanted to do a second lecture that actually did not use jQuery to kind of make sure that just in the pure JavaScript, you can understand the concept of callback functions. So it's really, I'm trying to make this about as simple as I possibly can. So let's look at this thing here. The first thing I did was I defined two functions. Right here I've got function 1, which is the math of sine over x, the sine of x over x. And I have a function 2, which is the cosine of x over x. So those are two separate functions. They're declared. The function is declared as a variable. So I have a variable fun1 equals function, and then the function itself. Then up here, I've got two buttons, function 1, 2 callback, and function 2 callback, which are defined in the HTML. And one calls my function 1, the other one calls my function 2. Well, if you look at my function 1, it just gets the value x from a text box, and then it calls a function called call function. You could call it callback, but I'm trying to keep this really straightforward. And it just pops up the result. So call function, which is where all the action occurs, receives two arguments, x and fun1. Well, fun1 is a function. This is possible because everything in JavaScript is an object. You can pass anything as long as you define the object. This object is a function. So I'm going to pass call function with x, which is the value that was returned here, and fun1. My function 2 does exactly the same thing, except it calls x and it calls fun2, function 2. So the real action occurs right here in call function. Call function receives, and I call this argument and func. Can't call it function, that's a keyword. But it passes over whatever went into x, and then func. So I return func argument. So in other words, func, which was passed over as fun1, is a function. Okay, returning the function with the argument in it's going to return the function with whatever value I put as the argument coming back. So if I call function 1 callback, I get the value of what sine x over x is. In this case, it's 0.84 because the original value was 1. If I call function 2, okay, I don't need to prevent this, I get 0.54. Well, that's because the cosine of x over x is 0.54, and there's the rest of the digits here. Basic concepts. In this short period of time, you should understand that everything in JavaScript is an object, including a function, and that you can pass a function, a defined function, as an argument to another function. And you can call that function within the other function with past arguments that can be passed to it. Okay, that's the concept of a callback, about as simple as I can possibly make it. Hopefully everybody gets this and understands it. 3 minutes or less, well, 3:15. Thanks a lot. Good programming.